It was one of those Oregon evenings where the rain felt like it had been falling forever. Gray skies blanketed the town, and the streets glistened with puddles reflecting flickers of amber streetlights. People hurried indoors, umbrellas snapping in the wind, eager to escape the dampness. But for one creature, there was no escape, no umbrella, no door, no warm room. Behind a shuttered convenience store, hidden under a dented trash bin, a sound barely rose above the rain. A meow faint, hoarse, desperate. Claire, a local vet tech, was walking home from work with her 3 dogs. Max, the wise old golden retriever. Duke, the overprotective German shepherd. And Bella, the hyper-husky lab mix with one ear always cocked to the side. They were her loyal trio, always with her rain or shine. Tonight was no different, though they tugged impatiently at their leashes, anxious to get home. But Max suddenly stopped. His head turned sharply toward the alley. He growled not in threat, but concern. His body language shifted. Duke mirrored him, his ears perked. Bella let out a soft, curious whine. "What is it, Max?" Claire asked, stepping cautiously toward the sound. And then she heard it too. Faint, broken, a cry. Heart pounding, Claire dropped to her knees and peered under the bin. At first, she saw nothing, just garbage bags and shadows. Then, 2 glinting eyes stared back, wide, terrified. A tiny kitten, soaked and trembling, barely clinging to the edge of life. Claire reached out slowly. The kitten didn't resist, she couldn't. She was so cold, her tiny frame limp in Claire's hands, a fragile mess of gray and white fur, bones too sharp beneath the skin, and a mew that barely left her throat. She wrapped the kitten in her scarf, sheltering her from the rain, and cradled her close. "Oh, sweetheart," Claire whispered. "Where's your mom?" There was no answer. No other cats in sight. Just the sound of falling rain and 3 dogs staring intently at the bundle in her arms. When they got home, Claire set the kitten in a towel-lined basket by the heater. She warmed some goat's milk, fed her drop by drop, and gently dried her fur. The dogs, curious but calm, watched from a distance, especially Max. The old retriever had always had a 6th sense for souls. In need. Tonight, it seemed he'd found another. Luna, that's what Claire decided to name her, barely had the strength to keep her eyes open. But when Max lay down beside her basket, she instinctively crawled closer. His warmth, his steady breathing, his massive paw, he wasn't her mother, but in that moment, he was something. Over the next few days, Luna's recovery was slow, but steady. She was weak, but strong-willed. Claire bottle-fed her every few hours, and the dogs took shifts lying beside her like silent guardians. Luna responded in ways Claire hadn't expected. She didn't flinch at their size, didn't avoid their paws, and didn't act like most cats who'd never been around dogs. She climbed Duke's paw like it was a mountain. She snuggled into Bella's tail as if it were made just for her. And Max? She followed him everywhere. One morning, about a week after Luna was found, Claire walked into the living room to a scene that stopped her cold. The 3 dogs were eating breakfast. And there, squeezed between Max and Duke, was Lunahead in the dog bowl, munching away. Without hesitation, Claire blinked. "You have your own food, Luna." The kitten looked up, blinked slowly, and went right back to eating with the dogs. From that moment, something clicked. Luna didn't just live with dogs, she was becoming one. When Max scratched the door to go outside, Luna scratched too. When Bella barked at the mailman, Luna let out a strangled little chirp bark from the windowsill. And when Duke sat on command, Luna ... kind of sat too. Claire started filming it, thinking it was cute. But even she didn't expect how far it would go. It wasn't just mimicry. Luna's behavior evolved like she was imprinting on them. the way a duckling follows the first thing it sees after hatching. Luna had locked on to these dogs, not just for safety, but identity. She followed. The dogs on their walks, tail high like a little general. She flopped on her back for belly rubs. She ignored every cat toy Claire bought but went berserk for tennis balls and squeaky ducks. And it wasn't just behavior. It was attitude. She was bolder, more confident, and shockingly obedient. If Claire said no, Luna actually paused. If she said come, Luna trotted after Max like a tiny soldier. Most kittens claw, hiss, hide, or demand attention on their terms. But Luna was patient, gentle, loyal, dog-like. The strangest moment came during a thunderstorm. Claire had just come home from work. Rain pouring again, thunder rumbling. Most cats hate storms, hide under couches, cry, panic. Claire expected the same. But there was Luna, sitting at the front door, paw on the glass, waiting to go outside. With the dogs her pack. When the door opened, she darted out into the rain, running beside Max with joy. She leapt into puddles. She chased leaves in the wind. Claire couldn't believe it. And as Luna stood beside Duke on the porch, soaked but unbothered, lightning flashing in the distance, she let out a soft sound. Not a meow, not a cry. It was a bark, or the closest thing her little feline throat could produce. Claire stared at her in awe. "You're not just living with dogs," she whispered. "You think you're a dog." Max licked Luna's head. Duke let out a proud huff, and Luna? She wagged her tail, or tried to. Just a little wiggle of her back end. But the intention was there. Claire shook her head in disbelief and laughed. This is going to get interesting. And she was absolutely right. By the time Luna turned 3 months old, she had completely shed every trace of typical feline behavior. No stalking toy mice, no scratching furniture, no climbing curtains. Instead, she chased tennis balls down the hallway, slept belly up like Max, and even barked well, something like it whenever the doorbell rang. It started subtly, like nature quietly blending into nurture. While most cats hiss or run when startled, Luna would puff up, stand her ground, and let out a sharp chirpy sound that eerily echoed Duke's growl. Claire had heard it once when Ezio vacuum roared to life and paused mid-step. Was that a bark? It wasn't just Claire who noticed. The mailman, Mr. Hobbs, had been delivering to Claire's home for years. One morning, as he walked up the driveway, he froze. Sitting in a perfect line in front of the window were 3 dogs and 1 cat. All 4 stared at him. All 4 growled, or at least tried to. Luna's attempt was more of a squeaky meow chirp, but she looked terrifyingly serious. Mr. Hobbs chuckled nervously and muttered, "That cat's been ... recruited." And he wasn't wrong. Each dog had imprinted on Luna in different ways. Max taught her gentleness and calm leadership. He was the elder, the one who let Luna sleep on his back and shared his space without complaint. If Max moved to the couch, Luna followed. If Max sighed and lay down by the fire, Luna curled beside him, mimicking his every move like a tiny, fuzzy shadow. Duke was her protector. Whenever Luna wandered too far into the backyard or tried to climb the fence, Duke would herd her back like a lost sheep. He taught her alertness, responsibility, authority, and somehow she absorbed his intimidating stance, shoulders square, head high, eyes sharp. Claire once caught Luna standing at the window, guarding the house like a sentry, tail flicking. In slow motion, like Duke's when he was on high alert. And then there was Bella Wild, playful Bella. Bella taught Luna how to have fun. They played tag for hours. Bella would zigzag through the yard, and Luna, lightning fast, would give chase, springing through tall grass like a panther in miniature. She'd leap, twist, pounce, ... and then get gently tackled by Bella's big, fluffy paws. And yet, Luna always got up with a spark in her eyes. Luna wasn't just living with dogs, she was thriving because of them. Claire, ever the animal lover and trained vet tech, was fascinated by the psychology behind it all. This isn't normal, she mused one evening as she watched Luna wrestle a sock away from Bella. But it's not unnatural either. She read article after article about cross-species imprinting, studied cases where ducks followed goats or piglets bonded with cows. But Luna's case stood out. It wasn't just bonding. It was transformation. Behaviorally, Luna had become indistinguishable from the dogs in many ways. She didn't climb shelves or knock over cups. She came when called. She even scratched at the back door when she wanted to go outside, never using a litter box again. After she was trained by observing her brothers, Claire's friends didn't believe her until they visited in person. And then they just stared, mouths open. Wait, she fetches? Did she just roll over? Did that cat just sit? On command? Claire laughed every time. Told you. But not everything went smoothly. At the local vet clinic where Claire worked, Luna's file raised eyebrows. Patient name, Luna. Species, feline. Breed, unknown. Behavior, canine-like. One of her coworkers, Dr. Peters, raised an eyebrow after a checkup. She responds to voice commands better than most dogs I've seen. You know she sits faster than your German Shepherd? I know, Claire grinned. She's one of a kind, but not everyone was amused. Some people found it unnatural. A neighbor muttered, "Poor thing doesn't even know what she is." Another commented online, "You're confusing that cat. It's not healthy." Claire disagreed, so did Luna. Because for Luna, this wasn't confusion. It was comfort. It was family. One evening, something happened that proved just how deep the bond ran. A thunderstorm had rolled in fast and violent. Wind shook the windows, and thunder cracked across the sky like a whip. Most animals panic, especially cats. Claire expected to find Luna hiding under the bed, terrified. Instead, she found her in the hallway, pressed tightly against Max's side. Max wasn't afraid of storms. He always sat near the back door, ears alert, protecting the house with silent calm. And there was Luna, her tiny frame curled up between his massive paws, staring at the storm with the same stoic expression. Lightning flashed. Luna didn't flinch. Thunder rumbled. She narrowed her eyes. Claire watched, stunned. Her cat was braver than most dogs, and perhaps more loyal than some humans. A few days later, Claire decided to test a theory. She set out 4 bowls, one for each pet. Same food, different locations. Luna didn't touch her cat bowl. She walked over to the dog bowls and ate shoulder to shoulder with Max. Then Claire tossed a toy across the yard, a squeaky blue bone. Bella and Duke sprinted after it. Luna joined the chase. She didn't catch the toy, but she ran with them, tongue out, energized. Then came the kicker. Claire called out, "Sit." 3 thuds. Max, Duke, Bella down on their haunches. And there, after a second's pause, Luna sat too. Claire gasped. Oh my God, she's learning verbal commands. Not just learning, them living them. Over the next few weeks, Luna's social media following exploded. Videos of her walking on a leash with her pack went viral. Comments flooded in. "This cat is more dog than my actual dog. I swear Luna is an AI experiment. Is she even real? She's breaking all the rules of nature, and I love it." But for Claire, the story wasn't about going viral. It was about love. About a kitten who had no one, rescued on a rainy night, who found a family in the unlikeliest form and became something no one expected. Luna wasn't imitating the dogs. She had chosen to become one of them, and they had chosen her too. No questions asked, no judgment. Just pure, simple acceptance. If Luna had a favorite among her canine companions, it was Max the Wise, golden-hearted retriever who had, in every sense, become her mentor. He wasn't the loudest or the fastest, but there was a stillness about him that commanded respect. Max didn't bark unless it was necessary. He didn't chase toys like Bella or pace the fence like Duke. He simply observed the world with quiet wisdom, and Luna followed his every move like a devoted student. Claire had started calling her Max's shadow, and it was more than just a nickname. Wherever Max went, Luna followed. If he lay by the fireplace, she curled up beside him, mirroring his position almost exactly. If he walked to the kitchen, she padded right behind him. If he stood in the backyard, watching birds flutter above, Luna sat beside him, still as stone, her gaze lifted to the sky. "She worships that dog," Claire whispered one evening, smiling as she watched the two of them lying side by side, chests rising and falling in sync. It was more than affection. It was imitation. It was identity. But imitation came with challenges. Max had a slow, noble way of carrying himself head high, ears forward, shoulders relaxed. Luna studied it like scripture. She tried to walk like him, step like him, even sit like him. But sometimes her small feline frame got in the way. One morning, Claire watched as Max rose slowly, walked to the back door, and stretched in that long, satisfying way retrievers do, front legs forward, hips up. Luna watched, then tried to do the same ... but ended up flopping onto her side in a very ungraceful sprawl. Claire laughed so hard she nearly dropped her coffee. "Nice try, baby girl." But Luna just stood, shook it off, and tried again. She wasn't giving up. She never did. Max also had a routine. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., he would trot to the front window and sit silently for 5 minutes watching the neighborhood wake up. Maybe it was a habit. Maybe it was discipline. Whatever it was, Luna started doing it too. The first time, Claire walked in to find both of them sitting in perfect posture, side by side, staring out into the pink-tinted morning. She paused. No phones, no distractions. Just two souls, one big and golden, one tiny and gray, soaking in the same sunrise. That morning, Claire didn't check emails or rush to feed them. She just sat on the floor beside them, in quiet awe. This wasn't just companionship. It was purpose. But Luna's devotion didn't stop at copying Max. It extended into protection. When Max barked at a delivery man too close to the gate, Luna yowled in her version of a warning. When Max growled at a squirrel, daring to sit on the bird feeder, Luna climbed up the fence and swatted in its direction. And one day, when Max accidentally stepped on a bee and whimpered in pain, Luna fur fluffed and ears pinned back hissed at the sky like she was blaming the universe itself. She licked Max's paw repeatedly as he lay down to rest. He nudged her gently with his nose as she curled into his chest, refusing to move for hours. Claire knew this was something special, something she'd never seen between two animals of different species. This wasn't learned behavior. It was deeper than that. It was loyalty. It was family. Still, Claire wondered, was Luna simply mirroring Max, or had she truly absorbed his role? She decided to find out. One Saturday morning, Claire left the house earlier than usual. She quietly walked to the front yard and hid behind the hedge, just out of view from the window. Normally, Max would sit there first thing in the morning, watching the world wake up. But today, he was still asleep. Luna, however, sat there alone, rigid posture, eyes scanning the horizon. Claire peeked through the bush, her heart skipping a beat. She wasn't following Max. She was replacing him. She was carrying out his routine like a soldier keeping watch. As the days passed, Luna's behavior became more Max-like, in subtle but striking ways. When Bella and Duke got too rowdy, wrestling indoors and knocking over furniture, it was Luna who stood in their path, tail stiff, eyes narrowed. One sharp look from her, and both dogs settled down. Claire blinked. Did she just discipline them? She did. Max, aging gracefully, was slowing down. He didn't always join the backyard chases anymore. Sometimes he preferred the soft rug or a sunny patch by the window. And that's when Luna began stepping up. She started leading the way on walks, staying near Claire's side like Max used to. When they stopped at intersections, she sat without being told, her eyes always watching, always alert. Duke, the natural enforcer, began deferring to her. When it came to attention, Bella started following her to the food bowl instead of Max. The shift was happening. Luna wasn't just Max's shadow anymore. She was slowly stepping into his place. But not everything about leadership came easily. One afternoon, a strange dog wandered into the yard. A large, off-leash shepherd mix, confused, but not aggressive. Duke barked. Bella bolted forward. Max stayed inside. Luna stood at the center of the yard, her tail high. She didn't run. She didn't hiss. She stood her ground, fur fluffed, eyes locked on the intruder. The strange dog approached slowly, sniffing the air. Luna let out a deep growl, deeper than any meow she'd ever made. Not threatening, not fearful. A warning. Claire watched nervously from the porch. The strange dog paused, sniffed again, then turned and wandered off. Duke barked once more, then sat down. Bella licked Luna's ear. Claire exhaled in amazement. She protected them. Max, who had been lying quietly by the door, got up slowly and walked toward her. He touched his nose to Luna's head gently, then sat beside her silent, proud. That night, Claire cried a little, because even though Max would always be her alpha, she saw something in Luna that filled the future with hope. Luna hadn't just copied Max. She had learned from him. And now she was leading, not with force, not with fear, but with heart. By now, Luna's transformation wasn't just a household phenomenon. It had become a local curiosity. What began as a kitten mimicking dogs had grown into something truly remarkable. Luna wasn't pretending anymore. She was a dog. And the world outside Claire's quiet home had started to take notice. It all began at the local park. Every afternoon, Claire took her trio, now a quartet, for their usual walk. Duke on her right, Bella on her left, Max trailing behind, and Luna, leashless, collarless, trotting confidently at Claire's heel like a trained shepherd. At first, people did double takes. Wait, is that a cat? Is that cat off-leash? Then came the phones, the whispering, the stunned expressions. One child tugged on his mom's arm and shouted, "Look, that cat is walking with the dogs." Luna didn't mind the attention. She held her head high, ears perked, mimicking Duke's alert posture as she scanned the sidewalk ahead. Occasionally, she'd pause, sit at Claire's feet when they stopped, and look both ways at crosswalks, just like the others. It was hard not to stare. A cat that walked in formation, responded to voice commands, sat with the pack, and didn't stray. People were hooked. Within a week, Luna had her own little fan club. At the park entrance, kids would run up, asking, "Is Luna here today?" Or, "Can she do tricks?" One elderly woman brought a bag of treats labeled for the cat dog, and another jogger admitted she changed her running route just to watch them in the mornings. Some days, Luna would pause mid-walk, jump onto a bench, and perch like a statue, scanning the horizon like a general surveying her territory. Bella would hop up next to her, and they'd sit there like old friends in silent observation. Once, A stranger snapped a photo of the moment and posted it online with the caption, "This isn't a cat pretending to be a dog. This is a leader among beasts." That photo exploded. Within hours, Luna was all over local social media, then regional, then national. Claire hadn't meant to turn Luna into a sensation, but the internet had other plans. Videos started circulating. Luna playing fetch with Duke, jumping into Bella's kiddie pool, sitting patiently at the vet with her siblings. One video of Luna scratching the door to go out for a walk reached over 4 million views in 3 days. People were fascinated, amused, but most of all, moved. There was something poetic in Luna's story, a creature born into loneliness, rescued by chance, and raised by those who were nothing like her, yet everything she needed. She didn't just survive, she adapted. She chose to become something no one expected, and that choice made her unforgettable. Soon, news crews came calling. Local stations sent reporters to the house. Luna appeared on the morning segment of a Portland news show, calmly sitting on Claire's lap as Max dozed beneath the couch and Bella licked the microphone. "How did this happen?" the host asked, wide-eyed. Claire chuckled. She was abandoned and raised by love. The host smiled, clearly touched. "And now she walks like a dog, eats like a dog, even guards the house like one." "She is one," Claire said softly. "She just happens to have whiskers." But with fame came criticism. Online debates flared. "Cats aren't dogs. You're messing with nature. Poor thing must be so confused. This is just a trained cat acting for attention." Claire ignored the noise. Luna wasn't acting. She wasn't performing. She was living authentically, joyfully, completely. Every action, every learned behavior came not from force, but from observation, loyalty, and choice. Claire never taught Luna to sit. Luna watched Max. She never trained her to fetch. Luna watched Bella. She never scolded her for not using the litter box. Luna followed Duke to the back door. This wasn't training, it was belonging. One weekend, the city hosted a small pet festival at the park dog agility courses, pet look-alike contests, and paw painting booths. Claire had planned to attend with the dogs, but Luna refused to be left behind. She leapt into the car, crate without hesitation. And so, leashless Luna entered the park like royalty. Crowds parted. Phones rose. Someone gasped, "It's her!" Luna trotted between Max and Duke, tail raised proudly, eyes scanning the crowd. She ignored the barking dogs and curious stares. She didn't shy from the noise. She strutted like she owned the place, and maybe, in some small way, she did. Then came the moment that would stun the entire park. During the agility show, the organizers offered a just-for-fun run-through, open to any pet, not just trained competitors. Bella and Duke ran it with enthusiasm, leaping over bars and crawling through tunnels. Max, ever the gentleman, skipped it. Then Luna stepped forward. Claire hadn't planned it. The crowd didn't expect it, but Luna chose it. She trotted to the start line and stared down the course. One man chuckled. "She's not gonna do anything. She's a cat." But then, with Claire's soft, "Go, Luna," echoing behind her, the cat jumped. First hurdle, cleared. Tunnel, she disappeared, then bolted out the other side. Teeterboard, she walked across it with careful precision. The crowd gasped, then clapped, then cheered. By the time Luna reached the final jump, the entire park was on its feet. She paused, looked back at Claire, then at Max, then soared. Phones lit up. People screamed. One woman cried. The moment went viral overnight. Dogcat defies odds and logic completes. Agility course solo. Luna didn't just complete it. She nailed it, not because she was taught, but because she believed she could. As Claire scooped her into her arms, the dogs surrounding her like a security team, she whispered into Luna's ear, "You weren't born to follow rules. You were born to write your own." Luna purred softly, head resting under Claire's chin. From that moment on, Luna wasn't just a neighborhood curiosity. She was a phenomenon. And the world? The world couldn't look away. The local pet fair was always a big deal in town. A full weekend of laughter, food stalls, live music, and wagging tails. Families came from surrounding counties to see everything from pet fashion shows to trick competitions. But this year, something was different. People weren't just talking about the golden retrievers or the dancing poodles. They were whispering about the cat who thinks she's a dog. Luna. Her name was everywhere on flyers, in vendor booths, even on a chalkboard sign near the entrance. Will the legendary Luna make an appearance today? Claire hadn't planned for Luna to compete. She was there for fun to support. The other dogs mingle and maybe do a walk around the fairgrounds. Max was happy to relax in the shade. Bella was hyped for the ball pit race. Duke was focused, ready to show off in the working dog obstacle run. And Luna? She was calm. Too calm, like she knew something no one else did. The agility course was the main event of the afternoon, a winding path of hurdles, tunnels, ramps, seesaws, and weave poles. Dogs from trained clubs and competitive handlers waited in line, some in uniforms, others with ribbons already pinned to their collars. Claire held Bella's leash as she bounced on her paws, tongue out, tail wagging like a metronome. "She's gonna crush it," Claire smiled, handing a volunteer Luna's pet backpack so she could ride along comfortably. But Luna had other plans. As Bella launched into the course to thunderous applause, Luna wiggled out of her mesh backpack, landed softly on the grass, ... and walked toward the starting line. "Luna?" Claire called out, startled. The crowd began to murmur. "Is she about to run the course? No way. She's a cat. It's probably an accident." But Luna didn't turn around. She walked straight to the course, head high, tail poised like a plume, and sat quietly right behind the last. Calm. The announcer, caught off guard, laughed nervously into the mic. Okay. We appear to have a surprise participant. Unless that cat's just really enthusiastic?" Claire looked at Max, who had sat upright, eyes locked on Luna. Then, at Duke, who gave a soft bark. The crowd sensed something electric. Claire took a breath and raised her hand. "She's not a stunt. She single quotes S... with us. Do you want to let her try?" the judge asked. The crowd erupted in cheers and chants of "Luna, Luna, Luna." Claire nodded. "Let's see what she does." They didn't expect much. Maybe she'd walk the first 10 feet, sniff a cone, or lie down halfway through. But as the horn buzzed and the stopwatch started ticking, Luna moved. Not in a panicked sprint like an animal out of place, but with purpose, precision. She approached the first hurdle, crouched slightly, then jumped, not over-dramatically, not clumsily. She cleared it. The crowd gasped. Then she landed, dashed forward, and dove cleanly through the first tunnel. People were now on their feet, phones up, mouths wide. She trained for this? Someone shouted. "No," Claire whispered under her breath. She watched. One by one, she nailed the obstacles. The balance beam? She walked across it more gracefully than most dogs. The A-frame ramp? She climbed and descended it with perfect control, her tail keeping balance like a gymnast. When she reached the weave poles, there was a collective hush. It was the trickiest part. Dogs got tangled, confused, or skipped them entirely. But Luna? She paused, looked left, then zipped through like she'd done it 100 times before. And in a way she had, watching Bella, watching Duke, watching Max, learning, not because she had to, because she wanted to. At the final jump, Luna stopped for the first time. She looked to the side, where Max sat beneath a tent, his eyes locked on her. Then she looked at Claire. Claire, who had saved her from a cold rainstorm, given her a name, a home, a pack, and a new identity. Luna crouched and leaped. The crowd exploded. Cheers, whistles, applause so loud even the music paused. Kids screamed her name. People rushed to the fences. Someone shouted, "That cat just beat half the dogs." Claire covered her mouth, shaking with disbelief. Luna trotted back to her like a queen returning from battle. Reporters swarmed in. A camera crew asked for an immediate interview. The announcer boomed over the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, you just witnessed history. For the first time at this event, a feline has completed the full agility course ... flawlessly." Claire kneeled as Luna rubbed her cheek against her arm. "She wasn't trained for this," Claire said through tears. "She watched. She learned, and she believed she could." That night, the video reached over 12 million views in 6 hours. Hashtag Luna the Dog Cat trended worldwide. Celebrity pet accounts reposted it. A national talk show DM'd Claire, asking if Luna could appear on the Monday segment. But none of it mattered to Luna. She curled up beside Max that night, like always, cleaned her paws and dozed off under his big golden chin. Just another day for a cat who believed she was a dog. And for the world, it was the day they realized she wasn't pretending. She wasn't confused. She was extraordinary. The next morning, the world woke up to Luna. The video of her clearing the agility course had exploded. In just hours, it was all over Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and even the morning news. A single caption beneath a video montage read, "Cat raised by dogs just outperformed actual dogs." And she loved every second. 12 million views turned into 20. By noon, hashtag Luna the Dog Cat was trending worldwide. Celebrities shared it. Veterinarians debated it. Pet behaviorists called it the most stunning example of cross-species identity mimicking ever seen in a domestic animal. Claire's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Good Morning America wants a live interview. Ellen's team emailed. A pet food brand wants Luna as their ambassador. But Claire couldn't help but laugh. Luna didn't know she was famous. She was curled up in the sunroom, nestled between Max and Bella, chewing on a rubber bone as if nothing had changed. Because for Luna, nothing had. She had always been this way. The world had just finally noticed. As the days passed, the spotlight only grew. Reporters parked outside the house. Fans sent letters, sketches, even hand-sewn replicas of Luna's collar. Someone mailed a golden trophy with a little cat paw etched in it. And every time Claire opened her inbox, there were more brand offers. Feature Luna in a Super Bowl. Commercial. Let us sponsor her own dog-cat toy line. Netflix short film pitch. The Cat Who Barked. But Claire wasn't looking for cash or clout. She saw something deeper, something Luna had awakened in people. Emails poured in from people around the world. My son has autism and never liked animals until Luna. Now he watches her video on repeat. I've always felt different. Luna made me proud of that for the first time. She proves you can be more than what others expect you to be. Some messages were short. Others were stories of kids who felt too quiet, too weird, or like I didn't belong. They all connected with a little cat who didn't act like a cat and never apologized for it. Claire cried more that week than she had in years. Not out of sadness, but because she realized Luna was more than a viral moment. She was a movement. Soon, the family started working with the local animal rescue. With Luna as the face, they launched a campaign called Adopt Outside the Box, encouraging families to open their hearts to animals that seemed different or overlooked. Senior dogs, deaf cats, mixed breed pets with quirks. Luna appeared on posters, stickers, even a billboard near the city's rescue center. She wore a tiny red vest that read, "Therapy Animal in Training," and she took it seriously. Luna visited hospitals and therapy clinics. At one children's hospital, she curled up on a little girl's lap who hadn't spoken in 2 days. The girl whispered, "She's like me. She's special." The nurses wept. At a local elementary school, a boy who struggled with speech came forward after Luna's visit. He had drawn a picture of a cat howling at the moon next to 3 smiling dogs. He pointed at the cat. "That's me," he said. "And I'm okay like that." The school asked if Luna could come monthly. She became not just a therapy pet, but a symbol. But while the world turned Luna into a phenomenon, Claire remained grounded. She protected Luna's boundaries, limited her appearances, turned down exploitative offers, and always ensured she had downtime with her pack. Because Luna wasn't a showpiece. She was family. She still slept in a pile with Duke. And Bella. She still swatted Max's tail when he ignored her. She still barked, sort of, when the doorbell rang. And yes, she still stole dog treats whenever no one was looking. Her fame didn't change her. It just proved what Claire already knew. Luna didn't need to change to matter. One afternoon, Claire scrolled through Twitter and saw a simple, heartfelt post from a teenager in New York. "Luna's not just a cat. She's hope. I'm trans, and people say I'm confused. But Luna showed me that how you're raised, who loves you shapes who you are, not labels. I don't need to act a certain way to be valid. Luna taught me that." Hashtag be like Luna. Claire stared at the screen for a long time. Then she closed her laptop, walked to the living room, and found Luna sitting by the window watching leaves fall. She looked so ordinary in that moment. Just a little gray tabby with big ears and curious eyes. But Claire knew the truth. Luna wasn't ordinary. She was extraordinary because she embraced exactly who she was. Later that week, Luna made a final appearance in a televised PSA with her pack. It ended with Claire's voice narrating as Luna. And the dogs ran across a grassy field. Some are born different. Some are raised different. But all deserve love, respect, and the freedom to just be. Be like Luna. Believe in who you are. The camera faded as Luna looked into the lens and gave a soft chirper, strange version of a bark. The world fell in love with her all over again. Luna had become more than a headline, more than a viral video, more than a cat who walked like a dog. She had become a movement, not just in online circles, but in living rooms, classrooms, and hearts. People didn't just watch her story, they carried it with them. Luna had quietly sparked something in people, the permission to live on their own terms. Across the country, her influence spread in unexpected ways. In a school in Oregon, a young girl named Emily brought her pet rat to show and tell. She was always teased for being weird, but that day, she stood proudly in front of her class. "This is Jasper," she said. "He's not a dog or a cat, but he's my best friend. And if Luna can be different and awesome, so can we." The classroom clapped for her the first time. In New Jersey, a dog trainer started a program called the Luna League, designed to encourage rescued animals with behavioral issues. Instead of focusing on making them fit into a mold, the program celebrated each animal's individuality. Nervous dogs, hyper ones, even an old blind poodle, all got their chance. Luna's face was on the welcome banner. "Train the animal in front of you," the trainer always said, "not the one you expect." At a shelter in Texas, a black cat named Buttons had been overlooked for months. She had a crooked ear and didn't meow, she chirped, just like Luna. One volunteer taped a photo of Luna on her cage with a note. She's different, just like Luna. The next day, Buttons was adopted. The woman who took her home whispered, "I saw her and just knew this one was going to change me." Meanwhile, Claire was overwhelmed, but in the best way. She spent hours each night reading letters from around the world. A girl from India wrote, "I wanted to become a dancer, but everyone says I'm too clumsy." Then I saw Luna. If a cat can weave through dog tunnels and still look elegant, I can dance too. A boy from South Africa said, "I'm always told I'm not man enough because I like to paint. But Luna doesn't care what cats are supposed to do. She just does it. So now I do too." A man from Japan wrote, "My wife passed, and I stopped caring about everything. I didn't leave the house for months. Then I saw Luna's video. She made me smile for the first time since she died. I adopted an older cat last week. I named her Hikari because Luna gave me light." Claire often wondered if Luna understood it all. The interviews, the cameras, the way people stared at her in grocery store parking lots. Probably not. But Luna understood love. She understood connection. And she understood what it felt like to be accepted completely by those around you, even when you didn't fit the mold. One weekend, Claire and Luna were invited to a national conference called Pets and Purpose. It was filled with researchers, trainers, vets, and animal advocates from around the world. They were asked to speak not just about Luna's viral fame, but about what she represented. Claire stood at the podium, holding Luna in her arms. "My cat doesn't talk," she began, smiling. "But she says a lot." There was soft laughter in the room. "She's not special because she walks through tunnels or jumps over hurdles. She's special because she reminds us that identity isn't about rules. It's about connection." Luna didn't learn to be a dog because she wanted to fit in. She became a dog because she loved them and they loved her back. The room was silent. Then she added, "We spend so much time trying to define things, what a dog is, what a cat is, what a person is supposed to act like. Luna didn't need definitions. She just needed family. And when she found that, she became her best self." The crowd rose to their feet. Tears. Applause. Luna purred softly in Claire's arms. After the talk, a woman in her 60s approached Claire. She had short gray hair and nervous eyes. "My son is gay," she said gently, "and I haven't known how to support him. But after hearing about Luna, I think I get it now. He's just finding his own pack, and I want to be part of it." Claire hugged her. That moment stayed with her more than any article, award, or viral comment. As Luna's popularity grew, Claire made a decision. She would not turn her into a commercial brand. There would be no Luna cereal boxes, no flashy endorsement deals, no cartoon spin-offs. Instead, she created a non-profit, Luna Lives. Its mission was simple: to promote love, compassion, and belonging for anyone, animal or human, who felt out of place. They hosted animal adoption events, school programs on empathy, and online forums for teens who needed anyone to tell them, "You're okay, just as you are." One day, Claire received a small brown package. Inside was a hand-carved wooden statue of Luna, standing tall among 3 dogs. There was a note, "To Luna, who didn't try to change to fit in. She stayed herself, and the world adjusted. Thank you." Claire held the statue to her heart. She looked out the window, where Luna was sunbathing on the porch steps beside Max, Duke, and Bella. The sun cast long golden rays behind them, like they were bathed in quiet glory. Luna stretched, rolled onto her back, and gave a little yawn. Then she barked, or at least something close. In that moment, Claire smiled through tears. Because Luna wasn't trying to be a dog. She wasn't trying to be a cat either. She was just Luna. And in being herself, she gave everyone else permission to do the same. Years passed, but Luna's story never faded. The kitten who had once been abandoned in the rain had grown into a legend, not just because she defied expectations, but because she touched hearts in a way no one could forget. Claire often thought back to that cold night when she first heard the tiny meows in the alleyway. She had no idea then that rescuing a single kitten would lead to something so much bigger than herself. But Luna had always been more than just a pet. She was a teacher, a beacon, a symbol of hope. The house where Luna lived remained filled with love and laughter. Max had passed peacefully, and though the house felt emptier without him, Luna never walked alone. Duke and Bella stayed by her side, as inseparable as ever, the pack stronger than ever before. Claire often found Luna sitting quietly by the window, watching the neighborhood with that familiar, intense gaze. Sometimes she'd see Luna tilt her head, as if listening to some secret only she could hear. One afternoon, Claire sat beside her and whispered, "You changed everything, little one. You changed me." Luna purred softly, her way of saying, "We changed each other." The non-profit Luna Lives flourished. Thanks to the outpouring of support from people worldwide, it grew into a vibrant community dedicated to love, acceptance, and empathy for animals and humans who felt different or misunderstood. Schools held annual Luna Days, where children learned about kindness and celebrating uniqueness. Shelters reported higher adoption rates, especially for pets with quirks or special needs. And Claire received letters daily from families, sharing how Luna's story had inspired them to open their homes and their hearts. One of the most meaningful moments came when a young woman named Mia reached out. Mia was a shy artist struggling with self-acceptance. She wrote, "I never felt like I belonged until I found Luna's story. She wasn't the cat anyone expected, and neither am I. Your story gave me courage." Claire invited Mia to visit. They spent hours talking, painting, and even volunteering at the shelter together. Mia blossomed, her art reflecting themes of transformation and courage inspired by Luna's journey. Claire often said that Luna's greatest legacy wasn't the viral videos or media appearances. It was the quiet courage she gave to others. The courage to be yourself. The courage to find your pack. The courage to love fiercely and without apology. One evening, years later, Claire found a new video circulating online, a montage of Luna's greatest moments, set to soft music and narrated by Claire's own voice. As Claire watched, tears streamed down her face. Luna chasing a ball, leaping over hurdles, curled up with her canine siblings, comforting a child in a hospital bed. The narrator's voice said, "Luna taught us that love isn't about labels, it's about connection. That family is chosen, not given. That being different is a gift. That we all deserve to belong." At the end, the screen faded to black. With the words, "Be like Luna," Claire smiled and whispered, "You already are, little one." She looked at Luna sleeping peacefully on the couch, her paws twitching in dreams. For Luna, life had been a wild, wonderful journey from an abandoned kitten to a beloved leader, a viral sensation to a gentle healer. But through it all, she had remained true to herself. And that truth had changed the world. In neighborhoods far and wide, children told Luna's story before bed. Parents shared it to teach kindness. Animal lovers recounted it to inspire adoption and compassion. Luna became more than a cat raised by dogs. She became a legend of belonging. Years later, when Claire was old and gray, she sat with a little girl on her lap, telling her the story one last time. Once, there was a kitten who thought she was a dog. She learned to run like a dog, bark like a dog, and love like a dog. But the most important thing she ever did was teach the world to be brave enough to be themselves. The girl's eyes sparkled. "Can I be like Luna?" Claire kissed her forehead. "You already are." And somewhere in the quiet house, Luna's gentle chirp echoed, a reminder that no matter who you are, where you come from, or what others say, you are enough. You are loved. You are home.